Howdy, folks. We are back with more Dungeons & Dragons, finally. Haha!
Hooray!
Yep, so last time, if memory serves me correctly, you guys had shoved the undead general dude into the magic circle and killinated him there, thus powering the barrier around the Temple of Mortis.
Yep.
And that is basically where we left off. You did see that the undead army had either... most of the mindless stuff had sort of meandered off and is wandering off doing sort of mindless undead stuff. And is therefore much, much, much less of a threat. Though there is a small group that was headed back to that big temple-y thing that you guys saw. That Eric's magpies saw specifically.
Yeah.
And that is where we left off last time. So, what do you guys... I mean, I know you guys, in theory, one thing you do want to do is get the fuck off the island.
Yes. Get to some place where all this gold I'm carrying is actually worth something.
Do we want to assume we've already had a long rest?
Oh, yeah, whatever. Yeah, fine.
All right.
If you want to take a long rest, take a long rest. I don't...
Yeah,
I'm not about to throw a barrage of combat encounters at you immediately. So if you need a rest, you can take a rest.
I mean, we wrapped up like the aftermath of the fight, and Kalia was like, "I'm going to bed." And,
yes,
she did. So
right, you guys did have some.
I've already taken my long rest, so that decision was already made. Previously.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Yes, you guys did take a bunch of resty time because, yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
I assume it would be logical for us to just say that it's the next day after the battle.
It absolutely is the next day after the battle, or the day after that if you want it to be.
Okay.
I also believe, I do believe there were some conversations had at the end of last session. If memory serves, there was a bit of conversation between Glix and Bob, if I remember correctly.
Yes, regarding the
deal.
Regarding the deal. Okay. And I have not had time to give that any more thought. So
that's fine. No. That's fine. I just want to make sure I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah. Yes,
that's me going. Did I? Was that a fever dream or did that actually happen?
It was both.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
involved you talking to Bob. So yes. Okay.
It involved talking to an inanimate object. So
fair enough.
Look, I know Bob's boring. Calling him an inanimate object is kind of possible.
He's literally an inanimate object.
He is a cleaver. He's a reasonably clever cleaver, but he is a cleaver.
They're saying that he's sharp.
I would say so.
But not nearly as sharp as he thinks he is.
Personal problem.
He's definitely keen for violence.
That'd be much more dangerous when he's not so rusty.
Anywho.
It's okay.
For the record, I did perceive that one, Mecca.
It wasn't subtle. It just wasn't a very good one either, I freely admit. Anywho, so it is
just galump on with the narrative.
Yeah, yes. Anyways, it is the next day. What are you guys doing?
That's an excellent question.
I thought so.
No idea. I have no idea.
I mean, worst case, I can go all, what's his name? Crap.
I mean, if a dude walks in with a gun, that'll be impressive because it'll be like, where did you get that?
We got it from the same place he did. Points at Cameron.
So Cameron walks in with a gun.
I have questions.
Cameron's like, oh wait, oh no. Listen, okay, you didn't get that from me. I got this from me. He pulls out a second gun he's had this entire time.
As I said, Cameron walks in with a gun. Then Cameron looks at Cameron, and they point at each other like Spider-Man.
Oh
boy, that's a direction for this to go.
It's not where it's going, but
Can we? So are you saying that we're carrying this to a 1960s animated series? Got it.
Ooh,
that's the way we could save money. Just recycle everything.
I mean,
Nah, we're going all out with an Into the Cameron verse. Like, there's going to be a middle-aged Cameron. There's going to be
Terrible.
a cartoon pig Cameron. There's going to be a girl Cameron. There's going to be an anime girl Cameron. There's going to be a Cameron.
I know you're gonna like it's like that. Like, there's gonna be a girl Cameron and then an anime girl Cameron, just because. Yeah, that way to describe the whole thing is just fantastic. Anyways, but yeah, Cameron is looking over notes, talking shit to Glix, as you do.
Glix is talking shit to Cameron, while
What?
totally
That's
not looking for shit to stuff in his pockets.
Like Cameron's just like, listen, like Glix, you've had enough time to find anything you can hide away. I mean, at this point, you might as well just be gathering dust and stuff in your pockets.
What? Sometimes dust is valuable. It's like, especially when it's made out of like gold or silver or I don't know, rare dead guys that nerds need for their magic.
All right, so, gold dust. So,
yeah, Cameron is otherwise just reading over notes and kind of waiting for the next plan of attack for what's going on around here. Since he doesn't have a good immediate plan for how to get off the island, other than maybe the gate on the volcano would have something to do with it. How do we turn it on? How do we use it without getting it to?
Wasn't there one here in this compound?
There was
No,
gate.
there's not one in the
No.
Temple of Mortis. No,
Okay.
there's one. There's the one in the Academy. You guys fell through, but that was one of the smaller local ones.
And that's the one that sent us to the volcano, I think.
Yep.
yes.
Right.
Well,
The only large gate you are aware of on the island is the gates you're aware of on the island at all that exist at all are the one in the Temple of the Temple of the Ocean King,
Right.
the one in the Pyrrhus' temple, the one in the Academy, and then the big one at the volcano, which has the bevy of Primal Beast of Fire's
Hangout spot, right?
hangout spot. Yes, they're all chilling around it. So I'm sure they'll be perfectly fine with you doing something with the gate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they seemed nice before.
Yes, you were not interfering in their religious ceremonies in any way, shape, or form. Then
Yeah, but like, I guess the question is, how bad would it be if we did? I'm just kidding. Like,
I mean, they could be cool about it. It's possible.
let's fuck around and find out next time.
That's it. I mean, honestly, I've had. I'll put it this way: I've had parties whose modus operandi was surprise and disbelief. The universe will never see what their plans are coming, and if they do, they won't believe it's actually happening. It worked way better than it should
Sounds
have.
pretty good. There's also the temple that the dead guys are hanging out in. We can always see what loot's in there.
That is definitely a
Especially now that
possibility.
they're all fucked off.
Yes, because that is definitely a possibility if you wish to. And I'm totally sure Kali would absolutely hate taking out an undead army. That would be terrible. She would hate that.
Yeah, but they all wandered off, so it's abandoned now. We can go in there and take all the stuff.
That's totally what happened. Yes, you're correct.
Of course I am. I'm adorable.
One, questionable. Two, that's not a sound argument. Or rather, no. Anyways, that's but like, yeah, but
I don't
I'm trying
know.
to
It's about as valid as me saying I'm right because I'm hot. I think you might be onto something.
Yeah, in that case, I mean, like, you guys don't want to be arguing with the people in the party that have the way higher charismas on anything. So, it's like, no, we got the higher charisma. We were right.
But yeah, otherwise, but Cameron just otherwise doesn't have a huge amount of like input about what would be the best course of action in the immediate.
Yeah. So I will say things that you could theoretically do that I'm thinking of that occur to me is one, you could go deal with the undead if you want to do that. 2, you could just go to the volcano and see if you can activate the gate somehow. 3, I guess you could go back to Karahuda village and figure something out there. 4, I guess you could just go randomly exploring on the island.
They were never heard from again.
Until they came back riding tyrannosaurs.
Yes, yeah, you should feel absolutely. Yeah, technically 5, you could go find the ocean, go swimming into the deep sea, and totally not get eaten by mosasaurs, because that would never happen.
Sweet, great idea.
Only one of us has anything resembling a chance, and I still don't favor them.
I'm sure you guys can handle a pack of mosasaurs. You'd be fine.
Listen, okay,
I favor my chance.
Packs.
It means a lot to me that you think that Cameron would actually have a chance of surviving out their wind, but I still don't think your confidence is well suited there. But yeah, like I said, like it's just the only thing Cameron is thinking of right now is like unless we have another thing around here that's really pressing, trying to find a way off is probably the main priority. Especially,
I'm okay with that. Yeah, we should totally do that.
Especially given the fact that now it's like, wait a minute, maybe other academic institutes have information that I can pull from, stuff like that.
I mean, hell, if you really want to hit a major academic institute, you really do have to get off here because there is the Mage Academy on that's out there.
Yep.
They're it's not like they run the major banks. Oh wait, they run the major banks.
Oh shit.
Isida would inform Cameron of that detail.
I mean,
there's a major academy on that basically run an entire like giant island.
Oh sure, but I mean that doesn't that only gives credence to Cameron's point.
I mean, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying they're not necessarily what you want, but
They were going to offer people actually really, really nice interest rates. It's just that most people thought that they were bullshit magic, so they're like, all right, fine, we won't do that for you.
So yeah, for those, I've got it up on screen for those who are interested. So the continent the party started out on is the one up here in the north here. The party is now somewhere in the middle here in what looks like just empty ocean, but yeah. The island to the northeast is the island that the mages run. There are basically 3 major continents: the northern continent, the western continent, and the eastern continent. The major governments on the western, so they're the biggest power in the northern continent is Kardul, which we've mentioned a few times. Right. They're the Shattered Kingdoms on the western continent, along with Dragosia, and the big power on the eastern continent is the Caliphate. And then there are a bunch of scattered like kingdoms and such all over the place. But yeah, the Shattered Kingdoms are totally not like one major power that basically fell apart due to the succession being really stupid and being disputed. That would be stupid.
Charlemagne, gotcha.
What? No, that never would happen, Eric.
Or China at any point in its history.
I wasn't able to watch any of that because there was a long fucking ad. Could you go back to that, please?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
No problem, word. It's in the campaign doc, but yeah, the northern continent is where you guys started. It's where Kardul is.
Right.
The western continent is where the Shattered Kingdoms and Dragosia are. Dragosia is the big dragonborn kingdom that is run by
east is the Caliphate.
Caliphate. Sultash, which is where Word's character's from, is sort of the northern part of the ocean.
Yeah, off center in the north.
Yeah. Somewhere in the middle here is where the party is currently. It's like there's nothing there. There's totally something there.
And one thing is like
the Mage Academy is on the northeastern island. They run this island basically.
Out of curiosity, Peter,
yes.
Where, assuming that Cameron could interpolate where things are based on like the original Pangea-esque layout things, where in the world would he most likely have been in his time?
That's a good question.
We don't need to answer immediately. I mean, that's just a thought there. Like,
my gut feeling from knowing how Cameron is, you're probably either from somewhere in the northern part of the map or actually no, I think you were probably from somewhere in the north, just because during the first sections you actually recognized the map pretty well up there in terms of where the gates were.
Got it. That makes sense then. Yeah. That does match up then. Yeah. Okay.
That I just remember. Wait, Cameron remembered the gates up there on the map of the north you guys had very well. Therefore,
Yeah.
Speaking of which, there's actually I will just for people's sake, I will drag everybody over here for a second, just so that you guys can, so that we have actually. Would you go away? Thing. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this is the map of the northern continent where the campaign started.
Yeah.
The red hexagons are the gates. That big star there is the capital of Kardul. The other stars are other major cities.
Yeah, and obviously the names of the regions are different.
Absolutely.
Kardul.
Kardul did not exist in your time.
Kardul as a word didn't exist in my time, probably either. It's a bullshit made up word,
Probably.
I guess it's someone's name.
It might have been.
Constantinople is Istanbul. Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that very well could be a situation, Eric. Yeah, the city of Kardul might have had a different name in your time. It might be an old city that's been renamed.
Yeah,
you do remember there's a big city over there somewhere, but
Yeah, but that's no one's business but the orcs.
It could also be St. Petersburg, Leningrad, Stalingrad, St. Petersburg again.
They might be hill giants. Is a good reference there.
I was gonna say, yeah.
All right, but in any case, Cameron would just be looking over would be probably pestering Ingier to look at the map that they've been making of the island, and just being like, okay.
That unfortunately I do not have sketched myself.
Yeah, that's fine. But
yeah,
Cameron will be like, hey, Ingier.
Yeah, and she just kind of comes over.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how much else we can do around here, and given the nature of, the volcano and the gate in there, it makes me wonder if there's any other possible gates that we might be able to, I don't know, take advantage of to get off of this rock here. You know what I mean?
I've been wondering that myself, and then you're kind of just spreads out the map using the information that he had gathered here. Actually, because there was a map here, it was on the wall at one point. You just look at that. Would there be any gates on that map?
Yeah. Any other candidates for places for gates too would be another one.
That would be on the island you're on.
Yeah.
No, actually. Well, there are actually, Skitch, there would be a couple of gates that would have been actually reasonably close to, that would be roughly equivalent to where they are on the island, just a bit off the coasts of the island you're currently on. That were dry land at one point.
Right. So either they're on another island or underwater.
Or else something else happened to them.
I mean, nothing else. Those are the only two options, right? They can't be. They could have been destroyed or.
No, you can't destroy a gate. That's impossible. It's not like you've seen broken gates. Sorry, there is another gate on the island that you have seen. It's broken.
Tito is entirely willing to investigate this coast to see if there was a submerged gate.
Sure.
That's an option, and Interior can help
how
with
are
that.
you going to use a submerged gate? You open it up, and then the water just goes flowing in like a big drain. That's not going to help anybody.
That's not my problem.
Drains the ocean.
Cameron will actually note, Cito does have a point. I mean, as long as we are just getting through, I mean, water damage, I mean, granted, it's going to have dissolved, minerals and stuff in it, so that might cause some problems, but it's not like we have anything that can get permanently damaged from it. Wherever we can end up going, right?
Excuse me, salt water is terrible on leather, and I'm wearing leather boots.
Yeah, listen. We'll put it in the wash immediately afterwards. Easy, okay? I'll just take care of it.
And I'm wearing chainmail, so that rusts. Salt water is terrible for half my shit.
Well, listen.
And that's not my problem.
It is.
I'd rather get out of here. And besides, you have so much gold. Couldn't you just get something new?
And better?
And I'd have less gold.
What's the point of money if you don't? What's the point of money if you don't spend it? Thank you, Skitch.
Yeah, like wait, why would you care so much about getting gold if you aren't going to spend it on anything?
You can get something really nice for yourself. Explain how.
Peter's just going to look at Injir. How close are we to the coast that this alleged submerged gate would be?
Injir pops out his compass and various little tools to measure the distance.
Well, given that you guys are currently almost in the dead center of the island, not quite. You're. It would be. I mean, basically the locations. If you're going off of Cameron's memory, there should be one. There should be at least one somewhere off that would be roughly off the coast to the north.
All right.
From where you are, that would be. So getting there in terms of as the magpie flies, as it were, it's about as far to the northern coast as it would be to get back to Karuta Village, roughly, from where you are now. So, if it was a straight flat walk through a jungle, 2 or 3 days. The problem is there are mountain ranges that way.
I mean, we could always go back to the whatchamacallit, the academy. That had a gate.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're gonna be able to control where else it ends up going.
Didn't we also collapse the room the gate was in?
Yeah, exactly that.
I mean, if you bring some shovels and pickaxes, you could dig the room out, maybe.
So
I'm sure
Right,
Glitz would love to do that.
collapsed. That was Eric having a brain fart. I forgot the room collapsed.
Oh, fair enough.
So what would the closest northward coast be that does not involve going through a mountain?
Let me. I mean,
The line of thought here being that once Cito just hits the water, she can move far quicker and do all this bullshit.
Sure. I mean, honestly, your
else.
best bet would probably be to just basically head back roughly towards Karahuda Village or the pirate village, basically.
And nick a boat and then sail around.
Yeah, that'd be your or just she could swim. That's fine.
Yeah, she can outswim any vessel here. So
pretty much, unless the wind's real fucking strong. And in that case, there are other problems.
Come back inside. There's a hurricane.
fuck that. I'm going way down.
We already had this discussion. You'd have to be like 300 feet beneath the waves, or you're gonna go deaf from the lightning.
And that's a problem? I can go that far. I live farther than that.
Yeah, but you aren't already that far down there to begin with.
But moot point. Anyways, yeah, if you really want to do that, basically your best bet's probably to just head back west.
All right, then Cito is going to lay it out as seeing as how these islands are of such a size that she can circumnavigate them in basically a day.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting to
basically getting to a
where we're
coast
not under threat would be the best plan.
Yeah,
and
getting to a
coast,
coast,
good graces there.
Yeah, if you want to investigate the water, getting to a coast is the easy plan. So the best bet is just to go the easy route and not really worry so much about the which coast you're on.
Right. Yeah. So yeah,
and it might be slightly shorter to go east, but that involves going past the volcano, and at that point, I mean, it's like, well, the volcano's there, and there's a gate there, so maybe we could use that. I'm sure you could talk your way past the cult of the fire, the primal beast of fire.
I'd rather not tire myself out before the swim.
I'm just saying.
In any case, are there any objections to returning to the village?
I have no.
My drugs are running a little low, so yeah, we can go back there.
That's true. You can get a refill. You're just not so long, although. Well, so never mind. We'll talk about that later.
So it sounds like we're going.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Before we set off, Kalia is going to go and so if I remember correctly, this has been in several sessions.
Mhm.
So, but if I remember correctly, the Guardians of Terra are in the vaults here.
They are.
Correct? All right, just gonna go visit them.
Okay. They were they turn the one of the trans turns faces. Ah, Champion of Mortis, you are welcome.
Well met. I do not know how aware you are of all the goings on inside the temple.
We are aware the barriers have been repowered and the artifacts have been returned.
Well,
We are not sure how you repower the barriers, but that is not our concern.
I had a question
Mhm.
for you.
Ah, we may have an answer.
Are you and your ancestors and any descendants who may follow, will you just always be here?
Unless instructed otherwise by Terra, we have it is our role to defend the temple as best as we are able. That is the task set down to us by Terra and by her ladyship, and we intend to fulfill it.
I see. Well, I respect your dedication to your cause. However, I will not, of course, try to argue that you should try and waver from that. You seem immensely satisfied with that role, and I understand that. However, there are some things that are difficult to accomplish when remaining in one place like this. So, is there anything that I can do for you as a way of expressing thanks for the assistance that you have shown my faith?
The two trans sort of stand there, a little sort of. They seem a little They seem a little sort of like surprised and a little bit nonplussed. Yes, actually, if you are willing to, as long as you achieve this within your lifespan, the sooner the better, obviously. But one of them turns around and shuffles to the back. You hear what sounds like earth being sort of dug and such, and then sort of a little sort of thumping noise. And it returns with a small pot with what looks like a small sort of seedling tree in it, and hands it holds it out to you. If you were to bring this to the oh god, what's the name of it? Hang on, I need to. Do I have the name of this place? Shit. I forgot if I've named the damn forest. Fuck.
That's okay. I had to do the same thing last session. It was like, names.
And ask her to bring it to insert forest name here.
Yeah.
The
Woody McTreeville. Okay.
Yeah.
TBD forest. Gotcha.
Forest of Splinters.
Yes. If you could bring this to the Ashen Woods to the west, and plant it in find an open glade and plant it, we would be most appreciative.
I will do my best.
We would appreciate that. At which point it hands the tray and hands over these small little sort of pot. It's a fairly small pot actually.
For one that contains a tree sapling.
Yeah, well, it is very young.
Yeah.
Well, it's very small, I should say. How old it is, who fucking knows?
Yeah. Very well. I do not think we will cross paths again.
It seems unlikely.
So I will say thank you. and she will leave.
Yes. Oh, you were returning the artifacts, right?
I believe we were supposed to
I believe that was the
do
plan.
that. Okay,
We may-
because like if she's supposed to, she will return whatever she's was.
If I remember correctly, that was the plan. But my memory. I was supposed to mention that at some point. I just don't remember if I did.
Yeah, I can't remember. I honestly can't remember
Me
if
neither.
the artifacts were supposed to be like
Let me
you
look.
can use them for this task, or if it was a temporary thing. Or
I think the plan was that we were separating them so that if the worst case scenario, they weren't all falling into the hands of the other dudes. And we left some of them behind so that like we also didn't make too much of a beacon of ourselves. So I think it was mostly just a distractionary effort more than,
Well, they were
well, here you go.
They were also there to help with actually doing the deed.
right, so there were 3, and
Yep.
we were allowed to take 2.
2.
Yes.
So we
And
took
the
the
third is the
shield,
scythe.
and we left the scythe.
We took
We
the
were-
circlet and we took the shield.
You left
And-
the cannoli. Oh, no, it's like,
We were supposed to destroy the rod in order to power the barrier, but that became unnecessary.
Yep.
So we still got that.
you currently have
Yeah,
the
you
rod.
still
Yes.
have that one. So
No,
like,
I
even
meant
if
the
we leave the
artifacts of
rest
Mortis. I
behind,
meant
you still
specifically the
have
artifacts of
something.
Mortis.
Yeah.
Okay.
They do not care
No,
about the Lord of Rod, the Pyrrhus's rod. They don't care about that.
Right.
That is not their concern. Strictly
Yeah.
speaking, it's not really the Guardians of Terra's Guardians' concern, really, but it would be.
Thing is, how
subpart-
you're now officially the champion, and you're also the one who's making the effective calls at the temple right now. You're the closest thing it has to an authority figure. Can't you just pull rank on this?
No, because that's not who Kali is. Like it's. Technically, yes, but
I mean, yes, Kali is literally not just the highest ranking. She is the only member of the clergy of Mortis present.
so, okay, time to do a vote on whether we're going to keep this. All members of Mortis who are in favor say aye. Okay.
Aye.
Any opposed? You're not a member of Mortis,
Nay.
but
I mean, there's a way to sneak it out of the vault without them, like.
I like.
That's a little
all
besides the
contingent-
point.
Yeah, that's all contingent on what Kalia would want to do in this
Yeah.
respect, and what Kalia's.
So yeah,
interpretation of
my
it.
question is more: do you want to keep borrowing them or not? That's up to you. I will say the implication I intended to give was that it was a borrowing for that task. But if you want to,
okay.
but
No, if
That
that
is-
is the intent, if that was the intent that was implied to Kaya, then she is going to give them back. Like it.
okay.
Yeah.
I just needed to. It is I need to keep track of where these things are sort of thing. But I will
Right.
also say this: if it is possible to return to the island, you know where they are.
Fair enough.
So if you need them again, you very well probably could just come back here and borrow them. It's just you have to get back here.
All right. And in the meantime, we've got this cool stick that turns into different weapons.
Yes, it does. It becomes 3 different weapons and a battering ram and a ladder.
You know, you never know when you're going to need a ladder.
Honestly, yeah, that's true.
It doesn't
Technically,
Batter ram or ladder are just 2 really useful things to have, like, in a stick.
Yes, that is in fact accurate. What was that?
It is
Ash?
technically
And both of them are things that Cena would struggle with immensely.
What was that?
It is technically 4 weapons, actually.
Yes, it is actually. It is technically a mace, sword, spear, and battle axe.
Yes.
Let me get to my inventory, and I will just.
It does lots of things.
Okay.
It is vastly more flexible than than Mortis's scythe. Let's just put it that way. Fuck not with Mortis's scythe. That's all I'm going to say.
Ooh, that sounds like a challenge.
Yeah, and I will. I guess we're going to have to do the thing where I get the circlet back from Glix now.
Cameron had it, I think.
Yeah, Cameron had to circle it.
Oh, that'll be easier then. Okay.
No, remember, Glick's got mind controlled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Lex
Yeah.
could have used it.
Well, I
We
mean,
didn't know it was going to have.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying. That, like, I think that's the mental association being had.
I mean, Glix wanted it because he deals with fey creatures, but
wait, you mean if I have this, then fake creatures can't fuck with my brain? Oh my god, give.
yeah. That was exactly his reasoning. I want it.
What do you mean Granny can't fuck with my mind anymore? Sweet.
Gimme.
All right, but if Kalia asks, Cameron would be like, "Oh, yeah, sure," and just returns,
Yep.
the circlet as asked
Yeah.
for.
Yep. All right. I wasn't sure exactly how far.
All right, so the plan is to head to the village and then have Sito go see if she can find one of the gates.
Scouting mission.
Okay.
Now, when we get to the village, Injir kind of pulls Sito aside and says, like, I don't know if you should be going alone. I know it might be a hassle, but I am very light. I could just come with you.
I suppose an extra set of eyes would not be remiss.
This is an extra set of hands.
Okay.
Now, the real question is Injir's 30-pound weight gonna slow down Sito?
Not significant.
He weighs 30 pounds?
He is 2'11" and weighs 30 pounds.
He's tiny.
He's
How
tiny.
does he punch so hard?
Because it's not a function of
He's
strength.
etherically dense.
Because he's an anime character.
He's got the power of the dragon. Yes.
Nick, never underestimate Injir's kung fu.
Okay.
His kung fu is mighty.
And the power of the
Dragon. Super double dragon theme.
Right. Of the dragon.
Oh my god.
I don't know why they made that show that way, other than it was. I actually don't know if it was the 80s or 90s that it was made.
That was 90s.
But it was
90s.
that time. It was 90s.
I'm pretty sure it was the 90s.
I thought that their car was so cool when I was a kid.
My brain
But
went
I
to an
don't-
entirely different kung fu franchise. That's all I'm going to say. That involves dragon, which is definitely the 80s.
I mean, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
I know.
Like,
I was really thinking of a really terrible movie from the 80s called The Last Dragon.
He's got that glow. Yes, I remember that.
Bruce Leroy. It's not actually that bad a movie. It's just a cheesy kung fu flick. But the main bad guy is Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem, and he is amazing.
Yeah.
the samurai.
Oh, he's Oh, I love him. I remember loving him as a kid. I don't know if I'd like him now, but anyways, your journey back to Karahuta Village actually is uneventful. Largely because I have not planned out anything particularly interesting for it to happen. Like, yeah, you could be attacked by dinosaurs. Like, it's just
This again.
yeah.
So it's like let's just go by like Fallout New
I think the
Vegas
dinosaurs
rules.
have figured it out that we're not worth the trouble at this point. Just kind of
Yes,
en masse,
yes.
like the rumor mill has spread.
You get ambushed by like a young Deathclaw or two. Oh no.
No. I was gonna say but inversely, it's like we get assaulted by a wandering stranger for some reason. I don't know what the hell that is. Why they're here? Are we the heroes? Who the hell is this other person is here?
Oh God, yeah. So yes, a lone wanderer, a wanderer palling around with some dude with sunglasses and a small floating orb crosses your path.
Oh no!
By the way, run.
At that point, we engage Fae protocol and say hello and keep going.
What, you don't want to fuck with Boone and Edie?
I know better than that.
Uh-huh.
I don't know who that is.
Fallout New Vegas, they're two of the earlier companions to get into probably the two best combat companions in the game.
Yeah, they're really, really good, and they synergize.
ED base allows you to detect enemies from further away. Boone is a sniper.
Yep.
There's totally not a combo there.
I do like the idea, though, of a rumor mill spreading around the dinosaur population. Like, a couple of Dianonikus hanging around the water cooler. Oh, did you hear about these weird, like, hairless humans wearing metal that are wandering around? Yeah, don't fuck with them. Oh, they're scary. Anyway, I heard
you might think the one without legs is easy pickings. You would be wrong.
Anyway, you eating any good eggs lately?
We see you have boom boom stick. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So basically just get to the village pretty smoothly.
Yep, you get to the village pretty smoothly. You are welcome back. There are increased guards because, Sito's warning did go up. And it turns out the guards being warned was a good thing. There was not like a major undead attack, but there was a small band of undead showed up, and they were able to drive them off because they had warning. They were not caught off guard. It's like, we will ambush this village in the night, and they know we're coming. Oh, they have priests. Fuck.
Ito is going to turn on the charisma and absolutely take credit.
He did it, so yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you did warn them.
Yeah, you did warn them, yeah.
They're appreciative for the warning. Because otherwise, a band of undead would have shown up in the middle of the night when they weren't really prepared. And because dinosaurs don't generally attack in the middle of the night. And they don't have to worry about the pirate bands attacking them in the middle of the night now, so... See, there are a bunch of undead out there. We didn't know they were there. That's unfortunate. We should let the high priestess know.
I was just my only joke here, Peter, is the reason why the dinosaurs don't attack in the middle of the night because they were always a primetime slot show and until they were taken off air.
This is true.
Until they were wiped out by an asteroid.
Yep.
What I recall, when Cito sent up the thing, we were under the presumption that the high priestess was still in the village.
Yep.
Okay.
She might not have been. That was it. There was a good working assumption, yes.
Right.
There was no reason to think otherwise. But it turned out she started heading back not long before you sent the message out.
Might have taken shelter in the other village. Or it might just be wrecked.
Everyone seems to be fairly sure she got back to safely, but but you're not sure why they seem confident in that. Because as you recall, it was about a week's travel for her. So
one-way gate, maybe.
No, there's no gate. I'll promise you that. At any rate,
a hidden bungalow somewhere.
Anyway, Sita will take all the cred that she can, and once everyone's resupplied, she will.
So you and you're going to go scout. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Sito is entirely allowed to take all the credit because that means there's less eyes on Glix.
Sita likes all of the attention being on herself, so this suits her just fine. At any rate, yeah, so she'll prepare for the trek, prepare some provisions. I suppose since Injir is coming, she could fasten a harness for him to kind of cling to her back so he doesn't get tired hanging on or whatever.
Yep.
Because she definitely swims faster than he can, and that's just easier.
That is true.
Yeah, that was the idea, yeah.
All right.
Injir switches from his hammer to the his normal spear because the hammer is not going to do any good if they have to bite into water.
Pokey thing better underwater, yes. All right. Yeah. So you all right. So Sito and Injir are sort of you guys get a get a rough sort of estimation of the terrain around the area where you're looking for and roughly where it should be. It should be a little ways offshore for what would they call obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it'll take
that
you.
That is fully within the estimate. Like she's gonna give like the area a good working over, like concentric circles.
Getting
that kind of
out
thing.
to the rough sort of northern coordinates will take you probably. It took you about a full day to lap the island, a little bit longer.
Yep.
So it'll take you about a quarter of a day to get there.
Yep.
Because
probably
roughly
about half of a day to thoroughly explore, and then
at
a
least
quarter of a day to get back.
It'll probably be a full day's trip to get there and back and explore.
Yep.
Assuming that you're not ambushed by giant marine predators.
To shore.
That is probably your best bet then, yes.
Oh fuck, they're dinosaurs.
No, they're land sharks.
Yeah.
I mean, technically speaking, that could happen. I have not thrown a bullet at you guys yet.
If we run into a bullet in the middle of the ocean, that means I'm swimming too low.
I will say that is true. That is definitely true.
So in that case, it's just go up.
No, yeah. I'm saying more on the shore, not the.
Yeah.
You're not going to run into a
If
bullet in
there's
the
land
water.
sharks and sea sharks at the same time, then it's like, okay. At that point, I break out the amphibious, not the aquatic diplomacy, and I just tell the sharks to go away.
Hey, just as an aside, a bullet is CR5, so it's technically an even match for your party.
Hey.
Whole party.
Yes, that is in theory how the CR system works. I'm curious. Aw. Nope, there it is. Haha. Oh Jesus. Okay, yeah, that is a I'm not throwing it at you guys thing. I was looking to see what the CR for the dragon turtle was. That's a no.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be a no. Dragon turtles are horrifying, but it's a bit higher than I was expecting.
In any case, yeah, CETA will, procure provisions that will eat just as well underwater as overland and etc. And so like she's going about this proper.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Definitely not throwing a dragon turtle at you guys. Nope. CR17 is not. No.
Come on, Glex, you can take it.
Well,
what am I doing? I'm sorry.
If you think about it, it's a prime number, so any prime number level should be fine against it, and we're 5, so we're fine.
There you go.
Yeah, we're good.
That's totally how things work.
We've got a prime number. We're good.
On the plus side, that wasn't a very good roll for the damage. It wasn't that bad, but it was not good.
Roll 20 plus 13 to hit. Holy crap.
Yeah, that's for his claw attack. Yeah, its multi-attack is 1 bite, 3 and 2 claws. Or it can swap a tail attack in for the 2 claw attacks. Also, it's got a steam breath attack.
Steampunk attack. Nice.
Yeah, totally.
Just throws goggles at you.
Oh god, that does a lot of damage.
Listen, steampunk is what happens when goths discover the color brown.
Oh god, that's a
I mean, and brass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you sure? Are you sure that's not an insult to goths or to the color brown? I'm not sure.
Anywho, all right. So Sito and Injir set off. Honestly, you guys do have to shoo off a few sort of medium-sized predatory fish occasionally that are a little too curious, but nothing like particularly bad.
Yeah, generally speaking, she's going to take the diplomatic route with them, seeing as how she can communicate with marine life. But if they are not particularly receptive, she's not afraid to give this to issue some
I will say
shots.
They're not very bright. But yeah, there are a few of the predatory armored fish that come sort of swimming up and are like, food? Apparently not food. Food? But eventually swim off because there is easier food.
Yeah, emissary of the sea. You can communicate simple ideas with beasts that can breathe water. Ergo, not food.
Yeah. It takes a little convincing because they are a little single-minded, but they eventually decide there's stuff that is definitely food that won't argue with us. And arguing hurts the head. Yes.
No, not nom nom. Oh. Nom nom? No.
But yes, you're able to convince them much more easily than you could say, I don't know, a large shark.
Right.
Who are a little too single-minded to really be dissuaded. See, we're not food. Maybe not, but I'm going to find out. And how do you find out? By tasting. I hate you guys so much.
Okay, eat this. Bam.
Yeah, basically. And
Sharks may be fast down here, but I'm also pretty fast, and my gun has a lot more range.
This is true. No, and then the mosasaurs, not food. Nah, see, we think you're lying now. You're clearly food.
No. You can't be fooling us.
See, you're small and in the water and are clearly alive, therefore you're food.
Damn.
You fit in my mouth, therefore you're food.
I have thorns this big, dude. Bam.
That was annoying. Now I'm annoyed and hungry.
Why would you do that when I'm trying to eat you?
Very rude. Very, very rude.
Mosasaurs are just not friendly. Anyways, you eventually reach the area sort of roughly where you think it should be, the gate. And the terrain in this area is the beach. There's not really so much a beach here as sort of almost like you sort of got like that almost looks like a fjord, and that should be impossible on this sort of island. It's like, what? And you sort of
I'm not entirely certain if Sita would know exactly what a fjord is.
Yeah, honestly, it's I should be more accurate. Actually, it's not really a fjord so much as a cliffside.
Okay.
Which, that's basically what a fjord is, but yeah, you're sort of like, there's not really a beach here, and that's the first you've seen on this island. And as you sort of poke around in the water, you notice that the area where you are is quiet. Like, more so than usual. Like, it's one of those sort of nagging things, like, there are no fish here.
It's my hand hovers above the stealth rolled.
Yeah,
just to blend in.
Yeah, normally, like, your initial reaction, that means there's a giant predator nearby.
Yep.
If you want to give me a perception roll, you may do so.
Yeah, I'm absolutely in for that. Yeah, Sita will communicate this.
That is your normal instinct underwater. If it's this quiet, that means there's a big fucking predator nearby because everything's gone hiding. You see no large predators. And the predators of the size that would normally make it this quiet don't generally hide very much.
Right.
Yeah, this is actually like a big shark would have in the area. No. You see no big shark. What you see as you look around, because your perception roll is good enough, you look around and you can just see what looks like sort of going off to the north, is you realize it takes you a little bit for it to really sink in because you're not used to seeing this underwater. And you don't do a lot of venturing on land. It's hard for Injure to notice this again because it's not used to seeing it underwater, and you don't do a lot of you're not as used to doing stuff searching underwater as Sito is. But it's very clearly a very large, very weathered, eroded crater. And you're realizing that like there's not even like coral here. There's no signs of like any life in the area. But at the middle of the crater, sort of deep in the bottom, you see what looks like, you think you can sort of, it's a little bit dark because it's a bit further down than, but you can sort of make it out, especially since you both have dark vision. It's hard to see it, make details at the distance you're at, but if you swim up closer, you get the impression that it's, quote, safe, end quote, to do so. There's definitely some sort of what looks like a structure. It looks like there's like a ruined structure in the middle of the crater.
Zeta will break out her Geiger counter and approach.
That's a Geiger counter would be a very nice thing to have.
Yeah,
it's just a pair of fish that just click a lot.
It's like divining. It's more like a divining cod, right? That's what we were going to call it.
Divining cod.
Divining cod.
In COD we trust.
Right.
You're welcome, Nick.
Nicely done. So as you swim down, you eventually get to the point where, and by the way, I'm assuming that if I remember correctly, Injir has a necklace of water breathing. Am I correct? Remembering that?
That's the entire reason that, that this was going on.
I just remembered, like, wait, Injir's not amphibious. Wait, no. Right, necklace of water breathing. I actually gave you guys a necklace of water breathing a while ago.
Yep.
There's a reason Injir's not yet drowned.
And Cito very specifically gave it to Injir.
Yep.
So like,
that's what I remembered, but I wanted to check.
For a brief moment, I'm like, wait, no, I already solved this problem.
Right.
I don't even need to bring it up.
Right.
Yeah.
At any rate, you definitely see what looks like a marble building. Well, the remnants of one. It honestly, like, if it looks like something exploded here, and
Right.
and when I say the remnants of a building, I mean there's a bunch of chunks of marble scattered all over the place.
Question.
It looks like almost like either a bomb or something very heavy was dropped on top of the building or whatever it was.
Okay, yeah, that was my question. Like, did the explosion originate from like the center, and the building pieces are coming out?
Okay, I'll put it this way: given that you're at the bottom of a crater, it's a little hard to tell, unless you want to spend a lot of time actually. Give me an investigation check, Injir.
All right, let me do.
Since you asked that question, you get the check. A 14. All right. Given what you do know about natural disasters and anything like that, and your study of history and all this sort of stuff, like sort of reading tales of like ruined stuff, it looks like something it looks like something sort of fell on it from a very great height from above. Like it sort of has that feel of like something like a landslide crashed down on top of it, but that makes no sense given where it is. Also, like it's very clear that something has been flattened and scattered. Like as it doesn't look like it was like something exploded and blew things outwards. It looks like something came down and crushed it, and then then exploded. Sort of the impact scattered stuff around it in a circle.
Okay.
As an aside, you're looking at an asteroid impact crater, basically.
I was just going to say, so we have finally found the campaign name.
Yes, actually, you guys have been in the middle of it largely. I mean, there is a reason.
Yeah, but this is the actual site of action.
One of them, at least, yes.
I would just like to point out that clearly asteroids did not just kill all the dinosaurs.
So much for that extinction theory.
They didn't kill the dinosaurs. They just made them just kind of quarantine.
That's a Futurama. What killed the dinosaurs? Me.
But yes, it is. It basically you. There's not a lot of record of asteroid impact, shall we say? But that's effectively what this is. Effectively, you also see what looks like the bits and pieces of what look like the stone you usually see used for gates.
All right, so it looks like this gate did exist and is still technically here, but has all
right, I would like you both to give me a perception check.
I think I'm moderate at.
Yep. Well, Injir rolled well enough for this.
Oh, I thought that was my roll. It didn't take. Hang on.
Well, you both rolled well. All right, you both
There we
notice
go.
there's something different about the stones that look like they were part of a gate. Like the sort of one thing you do note is that the inlaid runes are still visible, which is a little weird given the amount of erosion that's been going on here. It's like that seems a little freaking weird. Also, it occurs to you that they are glowing very slightly red. It's like, oh, there's inlaid runes here. Is that a faint red glow in the rune there? That's weird.
So we
Okay, so before I go and make an assumption here, would Cito have any idea about that, or is she going to have to break out the plate to try to get an answer about this?
You have no fucking clue.
Plate it is.
Okay. You break out the plate. You're going to try to see if you can figure out something about
what that means.
All right. What I need from you right now, word, is I need an int save from you first.
An int save, very specifically int.
Very specifically.
I thought it was highest mental save last time, but okay.
It was last time.
Can your brain handle it?
Yeah.
You weren't trying to direct anything last time, word.
Fair enough. All right.
10. All right. Now give me a highest
success.
mental stat save.
Oh, goody. Here's where I roll garbage.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
never mind.
All right.
Yeah, that's you didn't even break 20, Win.
All right.
Fucking
So
poser.
you sit there, you look at the plate, you basically try to force your brain to, you try to use your mind to force it to, let's say, I'm looking for this information. Where's this? Where can I find this piece of information? Where can I find? At which point you see you get a brief nugget of aha, eureka moment, and then you basically feel your brain being assaulted by information again. And you don't quite pass out, but develop a very slight nosebleed.
Hang on, there might be something on the other side of this dam. Let me just cut a hole in it and look through the hole I make. Ah!
Wait, there's blood in the water now? That's not good.
Yes.
And here comes the sharks.
All right.
I have prestidigitation. I clean the blood.
That's fine. Word. When you try to cast a spell, you notice that the mana that you use to power the spell dissipates into the area around you.
Huh.
Also,
it's fascinating and worrying in the current circumstance.
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. So the implication what you know about the sort of glowing red is the effect that the magics that power these things should demonstrate when they are absorbing life energy to power something.
So it's actively in absorb power mode.
Yes.
So it's trying to rebuild itself, basically.
Maybe. It's trying to absorb. It's trying to absorb life energy from the environment.
And so anything that comes into this area.
By the way, I want a con save from both of you.
Yeah.
But wait. You're assuming that we have a life among us, you know?
Okay.
All right.
I was gonna say before Injure rolls, I was gonna throw a bardic inspiration on Injure, but never mind.
Also remember, both of you will have inspiration, in the back pocket too.
All right. Both of you will over time. You don't notice this. It's sort of a subtle feeling. You're both feeling a little bit tired, more tired than you were before. You notice. You both have taken 5 hit points of damage. Word, you will take an additional. Because you're made to save. Additional 4. So you'll take a 9.
Save?
No. You rolled a 10.
Oh dear. I thought that was a clear. It's been so long.
No, this
depends on the DC of the check.
It depends on the DC.
Oh, right.
So Injure takes 5 damage, you take 9. And you that's when you realize, it's absorbing life from the environment. Wait.
We're life.
We're the only life in the environment. Oh.
But we're not the environment, though.
I'll be back for you.
1 + 1 = 2. Not chair.
What?
All right. At the realization of this, Cito is going to stay to Injure. All right, we have found what we are looking for, and I'm going to say it is in our best interest to vacate this area very quickly.
Engineer just nods because he doesn't have a way to vocalize underwater, unlike the mermaid.
Blah 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 blah.
All right, you vacate the premises and do not take more damage in the time.
Yeah, Cena will stop off at the coast. So
Basically,
that,
after a certain point, you notice that you can actually see plant life begin appearing again. So it's like here is safe.
we resume the life ring. But yeah, Cena will stop off at the coast to simultaneously allow for a break and to compare the findings with Injir in the moment. And also, provide the opportunity to break out the snacks.
Yes. And Injir's actually kind of looking forward to the snacks because this is kind of weird stuff that, he'd be used to, but the others, other than Cito, probably be going grossed out by.
You don't know
And
what
in the meantime, I'm going to roll. I'm gonna roll a hit die because oof.
Injir takes a brief moment to use shape water to drain all the water out of his clothes and just put it on the sand. There, I am dry. All right. So as they sit there and
I don't know why they did that twice. The second one should have been the bard die.
By the way, Ash, thanks for dropping the picture from the last dragon into chat. For those wondering, the dude in red is shown off. The dude in yellow is Bruce Leroy.
Okay, there we go. Cito's back to topped off.
Injir's high enough that he's not too worried about it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So, you found the remnants of a gate.
Yeah. Well, I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is the gate is still active.
Sort of.
In a manner of speaking. The bad news is it entirely explains why there was a whole lot of nothing in that area.
Injir just kind of nods, like, yes, I feel a little bit weaker than I should. We haven't done anything too strenuous today, and I feel like I've got punched in the face. Exactly once.
So, this information is difficult for me to articulate, so pardon me while I try to convey it effectively.
Out of curiosity, is this just between Injir and Cito at the moment, or is
yes?
This
we're the fuck on the other side of the island.
That's what I figured. That's why I was just sitting here.
So I'm sitting here being all quiet.
With Cameron, probably.
So, do you recall the events that brought us to this island? Well,
yes.
The other island and then this one.
The other island. So when we came to the first island, the gate. Injir takes about to articulate it. Glix used Bob to kill the tree, and that angered Eucharia, and it caused the gate to open up, manifest.
No, the portal did. Wasn't quite a gate proper, but the underlying principle is the same. In effect, we have seen this several times at this point and hypothesized about it. And I feel that beyond my understandings that I have obtained, this proves without doubt that the portals are either powered by or formed from the cessation of life or the energy of life. And the gates maintain that quite possibly by gravitating such energies within themselves. And that rather dire scene down there, that gate is trying to repower its portal. I imagine that it's not achieving much because it doesn't have anywhere to store that energy, seeing as how it's quite broken. But it's still trying to do so.
Could simply be that there's simply not a large enough pool of life force for it to pull itself back together. I would imagine anything that was in the area would have just been. Sorry, a full belch there. Would have expired from the impacts of whatever destroyed the city, and then over the resulting time period, only what small fish would have entered the area. They wouldn't have had anything strong enough to pull itself together.
I wouldn't assume that would only be small fish, but even still.
Even a few whales might be enough. Might not have been enough.
In any case,
This actually does just give me an idea of why the locations of the gates may have been drifting, which is one of the reasons why I left to be my initial investigation. It could be that some of the gates that have been moving over time have been pulling themselves towards, greater sources of life, sustain themselves.
well, I can't say I have anything to dispute that line of thinking at this time.
Engineer's like, I wish I had something to write this down with, but we're going to be back in the water in a few minutes, and that's just going to be a waste of time.
Grab a squid along the way.
Still, this is an interesting idea. Although, I wonder if we could bring a source of magic powerful enough to that gate, if we could reactivate it that way. Perhaps that artifact we have.
I'm not inclined to think at this time that the form of magic that the artifact takes is in the realm of life energy.
That's true. We would need some sort of converting device. It may not be on the same kind of wavelength. We all in all, while this trip was very informative, it does seem to not have been helpful.
Not towards the immediate goal, but we'd have greater context within which to operate.
Well, then I
Well,
suppose there's nothing else to do then, but to go back and tell the others what we found.
agreed. Although, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a few more minutes first.
All right. While you're traveling back, I want to give others stuff to chance to
Something to do.
Yes. Is there what are you the rest of you up to anything of interest whilst this is going on?
Cameron's reading over notes from the researchers to see if, while doing whatever else, while doing either stuff with Glix or just other stuff in general. So, if Kalia, had something to bring up with Cameron or Glix, I guess that'd be fine. But
I wanted to check to make sure.
Yeah. Glix is
bad.
going to be like popping his nose over Cameron's shoulder every once in a while to read the notes before going back to whatever game he's trying to hustle at the moment.
I mean, Cameron's at the table, so yes, it'll be a very fun thing for Glix to kind of do back and forth there. But it's just like, yes, Glix.
I'm just looking.
I can tell. You. I can feel you breathing on me, which is a.
So, what does transmogrification of what does this mean when it says transmogrification of sapient energies mean? What does that do?
I think if you're looking at that part, it says transmogrification of sapient energy, which I'm still not sure what they mean by that, if anything, but it's dense because a lot of the notes here are using shorthand and jargon that I'm not really keen to since I didn't study to be a researcher, and well, this wasn't written for people outside of that facility to really pick up on. So it's been mostly trying to parse out their jargon, which has been a challenge to say the least.
Yeah. So, like, you got no idea what it means when it says, like, focus projection along the nth axis.
Well, that's easy. That's like first year stuff. So I don't need to explain that to you. You already know what that means.
You got no idea what that means, do you?
Well, nth axis is referring to something that's outside of 4D space-time. I mean, that's already kind of obvious, but I mean, projection along that is weird because you're either talking about string theory or you're talking about other forms of extra-dimensional means of transport, which might
you fell for the trap, Glix.
So wait a minute. What does twine have to do with this?
Well, it's tangling. Tangling is when you have two photonic particles that are not in the same location, but are linked in such a way where the status of one indicates what the status of the other is. It's like imagine you had, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an easy way to describe this. Imagine that you had two lanterns, but they are powered with such magic that only one could be on at any given time. So it doesn't matter where the two lanterns are. If you look at one of them and you see that it's lit, the other one must be turned off because of how they operate.
Okay, because like it's like if it got two coins, but only one could be heads up at a time. So if you put one heads up, the other one has to be tails. All right, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. That's what twining refers to.
Why does that explanation work for you more than the other one?
Well, I mean, because
who uses lanterns?
Well, the reason for that, Kalia, is that there's actually a pretty common set of trick coins that work where they're linked in such a way where you can manipulate the facing of one by modifying the facing of the other.
Now you're just explaining one thing by explaining another thing.
Yes, explanation by analogy is a very common way to go over.
No, but it's explaining but you're explaining a thing I don't understand by explaining another thing I don't understand.
Well, I mean, the mechanism of how it does it, that definitely is confusing and weird, and I don't fully understand it. But the principle of it is the same either way.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you can use the gates to cheat at dice.
If you had a way of installing a gate mechanism in a table and are able to move things through the gates around, no. You still could use the gate that way. Because that's a fucking stupid idea. It's way easier just to, like, be good at cards, Oh
yeah.
But anyways, what I've been finding out though is that there's definitely been a point in the research where the researchers effectively are writing as if they realize something is wrong, and it's not wrong in the way where they're wrong about their conclusions. It's more like they've come to a correct conclusion, and it's more frightening that they're correct rather than if they were wrong.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Peter, I'm just glad I'm very, very good at like landing on like the stuff here just instinctively here.
Yeah, that you've latched on to roughly where I've been setting things up. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cameron's like, unfortunately, the exact details of what they have come across is what is enshrouded in this layer of abstraction, this layer of dense technical language, and that's taking a while for me to figure out how to read. You know, it's one thing to read technical explanations of militaristic campaigns, and it's another reading a research paper.
A research paper written by academic mages.
Written by academic majors who are really, really keen on proving how smarty they are by writing excessively jargon stuff because that was the style at the time, you know?
As long as we're onion on the belt.
But yeah, in that case there, but like Cameron's like, but yeah, it does seem like I do wonder how, as far as I know, the gates have always been around for pretty much as long as people have been writing about them, or at least they've been around in such a way where people just kind of thought they were commonplace. So just kind of like what you're alluding to, Kalia, I think for a lot of people, the how and why they worked was less important than just understanding that they worked and how to use them. So.
Just, I just had a startling idea that I think Engineer probably had on the way back.
Yeah.
About the actual intended function of the gates.
Well, that'll be a good conversation to have when you get back, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, it is. I will say, unless you guys there's more you want to discuss. This is actually a good time to have like it be evening and them returning back.
Sure.
Food is being served.
Yeah.
Sito and Injir return.
You look moist.
Looking a bit haggard.
You look moist.
Yeah, Injir
Why,
looks
thank you.
All right.
Injir,
Water
you look
bends off.
Injir, you look sufficiently brined.
Injir just like water bends it off. It's like, that's better.
So what'd you guys find?
Well, on the positive side, we did successfully locate a gate.
Oh, good.
On the negative side, it is broken.
Oh,
Okay.
bad.
On the further negative side, it seems to be absorbing all life in its immediate area, and that included us until we left the area. It seems that's how how a gate recharges itself.
That's why there's nothing around the gates and why no one wants to hold them. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
And yet we keep finding these gates in areas that people were willingly populated.
Those are
Certain
much smaller of scale. Probably. This is me out of character, reminding myself. There was a whole thing about like humanoid, etc. sacrifice in the water dude's temple,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. So Cito's going to remind that fact and state that that was probably why that one was.
I was going to have Cameron say that exact thing, honestly. Like,
Like the
Injir
sapient energies focuses along the Zorth axis. Yeah. That's
nth axis, the nth axis, but yes.
Injir's kind of nodding along with that too.
So that leads me to an interesting thought. Is that life necessary to? I mean, because there are gates that are able to sustain operation without that, though, aren't there?
As far as you're aware, yes.
So either there is. So the question is, do they need such energy to activate, or is it necessary to sustain? Peter.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, is it possible for Cameron to try to parse conclusions from the research notes based on this information here?
You can give it a try if you would like. Give me it's an intro of some flavor. Probably investigate.
Investigation, you got it. I'll just say either history or investigation.
Definitely on history. It's definitely more active than that.
Yeah, for sure. That's for sure. Let's see here. I'm going to use inspiration to re-roll that.
Yes, that is totally fair. 17. That is much better.
17. Yeah.
17 is much better than a 4. Okay.
I have one thing I want to throw out, Peter, as like a bit of an insight here.
Okay, I'm interested. I want to hear what your thoughts are first. I have some of my own thoughts, but there are.
I've got my own thoughts.
I have my own thoughts as well.
Given that the only 2 deities that survived the original war are the deities related to the earth itself and thereby the energy of it and death, and both of those seem to be sources of power for the gates, that is something that Cameron's thinking like, that seems like that might have a thread of connection there.
It might.
But it might be. But that may not be exactly what conclusion he comes to based on the research notes.
That's fair. All right, so the research notes definitely seem to be, given what you've heard and what you've gleaned from the research notes, the research notes really are, you've come to the conclusions. One conclusion you come to is the notes that you're reading have been deliberately not being specific about what they were researching specifically. They've been specifically avoiding writing down what it is they're researching, other than like it has to do
because of who might have been reading it at the time.
That's
so
one possibility. Yes,
language
there's a lot. There are a lot of reasons. Like part of it also is you'll note that the earlier stuff was more specific, and as they got deeper into the research, the less specific their notes became.
It got more vague as they went along.
Yes. Because of that, it is pretty clear. There are 2 things that you between that and things you have interacted with in terms of gates. It is pretty clear that life energy of some sort is required to create a gate.
Yeah.
That is one thing that's clear. It is very clear that the larger, more distant gates you've noticed seem to be like you've not noticed like much beyond like in terms of creating a gate. Or create power. Every time you've seen what happened, it has been a divine source, a divine life source of some sort, a divine being of some sort, be it an avatar or what have you. Both times it's been basically, it was an avatar. It was an avatar of a primal beast and a fragment of a god, a fragment of a dead god, basically.
Yes.
So and neither of those were fully functional gates that they powered.
Correct. Yeah.
So, but the implication is you need a lot of light. Basically, it's what you're getting. The implication you're getting from the notes, though, in addition to that, is it requires a lot of life energy to create a gate. Basically, a big stable gate.
Right.
Okay. It doesn't necessarily have to be divine from what you're reading, but that might be the case. That's not clear.
So at this point, I would like to state that Cito's hypothesis on the matter is that the gates themselves are more reservoirs for the whole thing, and the more outer gates and whatnot that you see like just still standing around, like the way they keep functioning, like they're kind of getting by on whatever happens to passively be there, but really there's just a huge reservoir left over that they're still drawing from.
That is possible. That is unclear.
Ingier's thought on the matter is that the reason why these little small gates have been attached to these, former gods and basically put up power sources is because they're being misused, and they're using the life energy that was powering the gates for their own means.
Another possibility, yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but Cameron just sort of like throws out a couple of just notes, and the biggest observation we'll bring up is the fact that the research notes that he has get progressively less explicit about any details the closer it gets to the end of the notes.
Yep.
But that's one of the main points he brings up in all this. But
they definitely found something they didn't want anyone finding out about.
Exactly. unfortunately, this does make any flippant comment about that one, dragon in the volcano and the gate there. It gives that more credence, but that is absolutely a very grim and not an ideal way to deal with that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Injir's like, I think I can take him.
Let me go talk to him.
On a date? To dinner? I mean, if you're going to a dinner date, you're probably going to be the dinner, Injir. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now.
Some people would be into that.
I mean, listen. If that's your thing,
Yeah, no kink
not
shaming
going to
here.
judge.
No kink shaming.
Yeah, but I'm just pointing out.
It's like in order to defeat the dragon, you must imagine how victory happens, and then it just in Injir's head, you just see him going down the dragon's gullet. And he's just somehow manages to stab it in the heart as he goes by.
But
Yeah, and that's what'll happen.
Think positively. You gotta think positively.
Cameron will then look at Cedo and it's like, in any case, though, I don't know if that submerged gate would be a viable way off.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
As said, it was intensely damaged. There were only the bases of the columns remaining. The fact that that's sufficient for them to continue to attempt to draw is admittedly a touch horrifying, and frankly, I'm a bit of the mind that it might be of benefit to destroy such a thing, but I'm not quite certain how grave of a threat it actually poses to anything, or how one would go about doing such.
Gosh, that'd be like just trying to destroy a capacitor that already has a charge in it. And that's
Oh, that'd be great. That no problem. Nothing bad would happen then.
Yeah. Or shorting out a battery improperly, for that matter. But Cameron just sort of nods a bit. It seems like we still have questions about how things work, but we do at least have some clarity about the mechanisms, and this might give us, unfortunately, it gives us no really good options for getting off this island, though.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Like we still don't have a way out of here.
And the only ways off in terms of the gate would involve some heavy infusion of energy, life, most likely, or maybe otherwise, but I don't know of any other energy source that would be sufficient to power a gate.
Maybe more dead guys. Maybe there are a whole bunch of undead wandering around the island now. Maybe we find another big brain one and shove him into a gate, power it up.
I would contend that is not life energy.
Yeah.
No, but it's energy, right?
Well,
it's like a kind of life energy. You don't walk around without life energy.
Well,
it probably worked the last time because the temple was set up in such a way as to convert that energy into whatever it needed to do its function. We don't really have that for the gate.
Yeah, there might be. Yeah, so either we have to get more information on the matter, or there has to be just another way out.
Yeah, we need if we were going to do that, we would need an AC dead guy converter.
Man, times like this.
I mean, there is a place full of magic nerds. They probably have an AC dead guy converter kicking around.
Well, I was gonna say, irrespective of all this, this just makes me feel like I could just go for a drink right now.
I'll pour him a drink from my new freshly filled jug.
I appreciate it. I'm thinking more about the bar, but that's his own little thing.
All right.
I mean,
well,
we can go to the bar. It's not much of a bar. We have to get off the island for that.
Well, as you guys start heading sort of towards the mess hall, you arrive at the door to the mess hall.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive at the mess hall, and the door looks a little different.
Oh boy, did I just say the thing, Peter?
Is it different in the sense that it's off its hinges?
No, it's very much on its hinges. It's got a very nice brass plate on the door now, though.
Oh, good. What does it say?
It looks kind of familiar. Again, it's that sort of text that none of you can read, none of you recognize, but you can all read.
Oh, this place.
Yeah, it definitely says the Tavern of the Apocalypse or whatever I called it that the first time.
Is it, like Cameron just looks up and is like, is it really that easy? Is that all it takes? God, Cameron's the first one to push through the door, just go in.
Scamper right after him. They had good
Tavern at the end of the world.
Slither.
When Kalia looks around, is there anyone like nearby us at all?
Not at the moment.
Well, as they go in, Injir kind of gets Sito's attention. Don't forget to see if that wizard's here. He was doing that thing for you.
Yes, it is the tavern at the end of the world. Yep.
Oh, Cameron's not going to forget about that. He's the one that put the collateral down for that.
Yes.
Well,
yes, I remember the bit with the lizard. Yes.
Well, given how portals seem to work around us, I guess we better go through this before it disappears, and we can't go through. Kalia was going to feel bad about like
portal.
Kalia was going to be like, well, but if anyone else wants to come and get off the island, it's like, oh, we don't have time.
Well, you walk from what you understand about the way the door usually works, when you leave, it'll take you back out to the same spot.
Unless we ask it not to, maybe it'll put us someplace on with civilization.
Anyways, you walk through the door, and you are met by the maitre d', who looks up. It's good to see you all again. It's been some time. Please, I can take you to a table for you all, or you can just pick the table you'd like, whichever. All the tables are open tonight.
Right.
Ito is going to simply state, remembering to put on her facade. In a chipper form, she will mention taking her usual seats and asking if they would have any need for performance this evening.
If you would like to, yes, we could arrange. We could arrange for that. If you would like to, we would definitely use that for the evening. If you'd like, absolutely.
Always glad to provide a show.
Mm-hmm. All right. Other than that, it's the crowd is different than the last time you were here. Which honestly, as far as Sito and Cameron are concerned, is pretty typical. As a general rule of thumb, it's a usual weird mix of different people each time. So. But you are seated, you were brought menus and all the like. It's usual sort of, restaurant at the end of the world thing, same as last time basically, but there are more people here this time. It's a fairly crowded evening, but there are enough open tables that you can pick where you'd like to sit. Roughly. The really nice table by the window overlooking the scenes of the world ending, that one's taken at the moment.
Thank God. I think you got over it the last time you saw that. Don't you here get over it? It's just the end of the world. Fuck you.
It's just the world ending. That's nothing. That happens all the time. Eventually. All right, so you all find a table, and is there anything you'd like to do in particular while you're at the restaurant?
Order some good booze and piles of food.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as how Cito just got done, basically swimming a marathon and getting leached by a gate at the halfway point while carrying Injir, Cito is hungry.
Yeah. Oh, there's plenty of food, and you can definitely afford it. So hey, I mean, hell, Gliss can afford anything he damn well pleases, given the amount of gold he's carrying.
Yeah, I have several pounds of gold in my magic backpack.
Injir actually uses his wisdom for a moment and thinks maybe we should try to pawn off those cowrie shells first. probably not going to need those anymore.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're pretty.
You guys take shells. I hold up a cowrie shell.
Those are a established form of currency in certain places. So sure, yes.
Cool. So when we leave, that door takes us back to where we came from, right?
That is how it usually works. That is how it's supposed to work. Yes.
There a way we can get it to take us back to someplace else?
It is not supposed to do that. As far as we're aware, it has not done that once. He says, looking at Cameron.
Cameron just thinks for a moment, it's like, and quick thought there. The place that the gate dropped him off in, it might have been at the same place.
As a matter of fact, yes. As far as you're fairly certain it was exactly the same place. Just you traveled in time, not
way
space.
later.
Yeah. Cameron will say, like, Cam will just sort of shrug sheepishly, and then scoot to take a look out the window, to sort of look at the frozen apocalypse for some comfort,
For comfort. Love that.
You're just kind of wondering about the possibilities. So what? You've never seen a mixed party try to leave, like people that came in separately try to leave at the same time, and
they just go through the door separately.
No. You've never seen them try to leave together.
It's never happened.
This question has been asked before. Generally speaking, you can think of it as the door remembers.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like in reality, no one's ever leaving together.
But if two people who arrived from different places walked to the door at the same time, they would each end up in the appropriate time, the appropriate place.
So there's no ontological inertia or gravity keeping people together.
Nope.
Okay.
No. The way the door is supposed to work is it remembers where you came in from, where and when you came in from, and it puts you back there.
And she was like, okay. I was thinking maybe we could just ask somebody, wait till somebody else was leaving, go out with them. But that's not going to work.
Apparently not. Yeah, I mean, it'd be really weird if it didn't work that way. It'd be very strange and be very unfortunate. If we're still concerned about what happened with Cameron, and we're still trying to figure that out.
And I take it there's been no leads there?
No. What happened? Unfortunately, Cameron, as far as we can tell from all the research we've done, Archimage Galterius has been one of the people who's looked very carefully into it. As near as we can tell, what happened to you is actually impossible.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to do one better. I thought you said what happened. I thought you were going to say what happened didn't happen. Just not to gaslight, but just say it just didn't happen.
No, it very clearly happened. Like we know this happened because we have proof. You're here, but it should not be possible. It is actually impossible. There is very clearly an element to the way that the door's magic works that we simply do not understand. We're missing a fact, and we do not know what that fact is.
Could it have been tampered with by an outside influence?
As far as we can tell, it has not been.
And even if it was, if it was being tampered, it would be very difficult to causally tamper it specifically to affect one specific individual without potentially altering it for anyone else. And I think the other further point is that if someone was able to tamper it once, then other tamperings might have occurred. And again,
could be someone had a very specific plan for you.
Yeah.
Nah, that's dumb. I like the idea that Cameron's just impossible. We're going to go with that.
As entertaining as that line is on its face, I'm just going to say that Cameron has been of particular use to my purposes, and I don't quite know where I got my vision from.
It's hard to say. If that brings up other questions that I'm not sure if we are going to be able to easily answer. Among them being, of course, why me, why from my time to this time, and all that. So, but
I mean, why does there
I
have to be a
imagine,
reason?
considering the answers we've obtained on the current course, I imagine we'll have plenty enough in the future as long as we continue to pursue them. So I'm not overly concerned with pondering them in the moment.
right, that's
I'm also just gonna say you're assuming there's a plan. Sometimes it just ain't a plan. Sometimes shit just happens.
well, that depends on your definition of, well, things just happening. As it gets to the causality issues as well. Great, only it took causality 101, so there's
Ito looks straight at the camera and says, I imagine there's some form of a plan given there's a DM.
Nope.
I just like the idea of a class named Causality 101.
Classic Causality 101. I love that.
Mm-hmm. We got classical causality, relativistic causality, and then quantum causality.
The class for inducing headaches.
We also have Eastern causality and neo-modern causality.
Oh God.
And then alternative causality, but that's a. Anyways, but Cameron's just like, geez. In any case, so I believe we have one other piece of business we can deal with here while we eat and drink and collect our thoughts. And all
that reminds me. One moment. Eventually, the waiter waves to one of the waitresses who sort of looks over. He sort of does a quick little hand gesture, and she nods. And a little bit later, she comes back with a package addressed to Cameron and Cito. This was left here.
Cito's just going to kind of look at Cameron and Glix after the conversation she's just had for a moment. This was with a bit of a smug on her line of thought, but then returns to it.
This was left. This was delivered here by Archmage Galterius last time he was here. He said his project was finished, and since you weren't here, he figured he'd leave it here for us to give it to you next time you arrived.
Wonderful, thank you very much.
So what? I don't get presents?
Well, this is what they were. I believe this is something he was hired to make.
Yes,
this was an arrangement, not a gift of nowhere.
I'm just saying, I'm definitely cuter than Cito, so I deserve presents.
Cito actively starts laughing.
Glix is like one of those kids where he goes to a birthday party, he has to have his own present, or he's just be an asshole.
He needs his equal attention present.
Ito isn't even offended by that because she doesn't even begin to dignify it. She just laughs and takes it.
Well, of course she doesn't dignify it. She knows it's right. Acknowledging it would be just terrible for her ego. I understand that. It's fine.
Opening box.
It's the thing you guys recorded. It is the thing you commissioned.
Yep. Excellent.
Yeah. And like
So it's been a while, and while I think I remember what it is, a refresher would be appreciated.
It was basically a Tensor's floating disc type, basically a ring or amulet to basically cast Tensor's floating disc under Cito so she doesn't have to slither over stairs and shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It is basically a charge-based artifact, charge-based magic item that can cast Tensor's floating disc.
Yep.
And there's a couple ways we can have it handled, I guess.
Yeah, that was customized specifically for, a lengthy individual.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's kind of like Tensor's floating palanquin.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. And and Cameron's like, besides Glix, I didn't put down collateral for anyone to make anything for you, so
Fine. I guess I'll just sit here and just drown my sorrows in this very good scotch.
By the way, Eric,
Yeah.
As you're turning to that, you notice that there has been another bottle of scotch has been delivered at the table next to you.
Finally, people are understanding.
And the waiter says, "This is the compliments from the Fey gentleman over at table 13."
Yeah. So anyways, Glix.
Oh, please tell me he already popped the cork, or whatever.
He's got like the bottle to his lips.
Put the cork back in. Gently slide it away.
You see your friendly Fey noble sort of sketching a wave at you from another table. He goes back to eating. He's got a bit of a smirk on his face.
The kind of presents I'm looking for.
It's like, aha, bottles. Wait a minute.
You know what? Fuck it. Kalia's going to excuse herself from the table, and she's actually going to go over to where the Fey gentleman is.
Okay.
Oh, you're terrible for this. He's going to get you into some sort of terrible shit.
Nah, I'm fine.
You're one of Glix's compatriots.
You're too honest for this. He's going to drive circles around you.
You could say that.
How can I help you, miss?
I was wondering if you would be able to answer a question for me.
I'm capable of answering questions, yes.
Your mistress, your queen, is not the first person that we've encountered that seems to have a curiosity regarding the gates. I was wondering, do you know why she's so interested in them?
I do.
And would you be willing to share that with me?
What can you offer in return?
Let me think about this, actually.
I've already given you one free piece of information. I do not like giving out more than necessary.
You are referring to the fact that she is interested in the gates.
You are correct. And also that I know why she's interested. That's two pieces of information I've given you already. I'm being lax.
I was going to say, like, this dude is like being bizarrely upfront. He's going easy on you.
It's a trap.
What information do you already know about our experiences with the gates, so that I know what I could offer you in return?
That's adorable. There's much that there are many ways I could answer that question, none of which would satisfy you, I suspect.
If you tell me everything, then I will know that I have nothing to offer you.
Oh, there's plenty that you can offer me. It doesn't necessarily have to be information that you have.
I don't like to deal with potentials.
Oh, that is totally understandable.
I think he's referring to material things.
Tell you what. I can't tell you everything that you would like to know.
I didn't expect that.
Granny would be displeased. I can, however, give you a hint. In exchange for a small favor in future.
Which you will not tell me what it is now.
Well, I don't know what it is right now. I don't know what I would need right now.
I don't like leaving things on such open ends.
That is fair.
I just hate to say it, this is where the Italian music starts playing in the background.
Give me a minute to try to think of how I want to phrase this.
Yeah. I'm sure that you know enough to understand that Glix and I are very different people.
Oh, absolutely.
And any deal that you offer him is much less likely to be taken on by me. And the reverse goes as well.
Tell you what. There is an undead individual whom is making things difficult for both me and for Granny. If you were to commit to removing this individual from this plane of existence, I'd be willing to give you a little bit of a hint onto why Granny is interested in this information.
Is it the guy we already smoked?
No, it's not.
Probably is going to stand up from the bar. Thank you for at least entertaining the possibility. Goodbye.
Okay. Understandable. I wish you a good day.
Gears like, remove from this plane of existence. Wow. That's a trick. I mean, yeah, I guess that's what we did last time, but that's not normally how things go. Usually we just kill something.
Well, Kali returns to the table, I take it.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Great deal, and yet very little.
Yeah, it's par for the course.
I also suspect he may have been lying to me.
Well, yeah,
That
his
sounds
mouth was moving.
Hmm.
I mean, he'll only be telling you true facts, but it's all going to be lies.
Yeah.
You didn't, like, make a deal or say something that he might think was you making a deal, did you?
I suppose that on a couple of them I didn't specifically say no, but I certainly didn't say yes to anything.
Yeah.
But
There's something that has been bothering me for a time.
Yeah.
If the gates run off of life in some form, then what is it? I do not think that that is the reason why they were the subject of some sort of conflict. Because they were already around before the war erupted.
right.
And they are still in use now.
Mm-hmm. My suspicion is that fact about the gates, you're right, probably has nothing to do with the actual reason why the war broke out. If I were to guess, it'd have to be for something else, though, yeah. What were you thinking, Kalia?
There were two possibilities that came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
One was the one that you spoke, and the other was that this knowledge of how they were powered is what the researchers concluded. And it wasn't the gods who lost that were trying to use them.
Mm-hmm. It was the people who understood the nature of the gates that were the source of it, or something like that.
My point is, what if the people who made this discovery about the gates were not trying to push using them further,
but we're instead trying to destroy them. After all, the gates are still in use.
That is true. And depending on the nature of how they acquire their power, it could be, probably in some people's eyes, parasitic enough that there is a lack of sustainability about the gates and of themselves, or just an incompatibility with them.
And perhaps the balance that is struck currently in terms of how the continent uses the gates, maybe they do not draw enough power to cause unnecessary strain on the energies of all living things surrounding them. Maybe if they were used in greater quantities, then it would become a problem.
That's a possibility too.
On the reverse side, maybe that ability to draw life is a way to weaponize them.
Jir just kind of pops in as he's eating and listen to this. It's like, Cameron, would you say that the gates were used much more frequently back in your time? Like constantly? For like trade and things?
There's a handful of possibilities to think about how this plays out, but there's, I guess, there's still things like the inciting action that cause everything to rail, because the information I have here was built up for about a century and a half after my time, and the gates were functioning pretty much as they were now. I think. Question, Peter: were the gates more bountiful in Cameron's time? More of them.
Well, I mean, technically, yes, there are more of them because there are several. Because there's the middle bit of the map is sort of gone. So
sure. I guess was there a higher density of them?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
At least not.
So Cameron's like.
So okay, correction. As near as you can tell, nobody seems to be using the minor gates that you like, the ones that you saw in like the academy anymore. Like they just don't see. Nobody seems like the only gates that are known are the big ones.
Right. So Cameron's
smaller ones don't seem to be a thing anymore.
Getting more contemporary documents around the time the war started would give some insight from the perspective of those that lived at the time. I'm not sure if it'll answer our questions, Kalia, but it's definitely something that I'm intent on learning more about myself. Whether the truth makes any particular party look good or bad, I honestly am not concerned with. It's just there's the records that whatever records we have, almost certainly have some information missing that might be vital to understand the full scope of what happened, especially this far out from when the war happened. The camera just looks down at the notebooks that are just opened up in front of him on the table.
And you're just like, well, we know where we want to go now. We just got to find a way to get there.
Indeed.
All right. Well, is there anything else you guys want to do at the restaurant, or do you want to head back?
Well, eat till I'm way too full.
That was a given.
You do have all that money, Glix. You could try to find somebody here to make you something. Do you want a special present?
I do want a special present.
But you don't know who anybody here is.
Yeah, I don't know any of these guys.
Well, you know one of them is.
One of them could be another one of those assholes in disguise. They do that,
You just look around. There's like three people that look like One of them just got a long beard. One of them's got a twirly mustache.
You look around. There are 3 identical Fey nobles at different tables. They all look identical, which is weird because no Fey would actually want to look like exactly like another Fey. That just seems wrong.
Oh no, they're all different in that their eyebrows are all different lengths.
Cameron will also chime one other point to Kalia and will say, I guess the other thing is, by looking at what people were researching and knowing at the time, while it doesn't make any difference, it does make me wonder if anything could have been done to prevent it. Whether or not it's a good idea that, whether or not the older gods should have died or the like, there's still probably a bunch of people, a bunch of collateral damage over the war that probably could have been avoided altogether. But
I know that your relation to the gods is different from my own, but in my experience, I don't think that there is anything that could have changed their minds if they decided to take such drastic actions as killing each other.
you're probably right, but still, yeah.
Gods are just really strong people. Really, they're going to kill each other because one of them got an idea to do it. Sometimes people just do that.
Cameron just gets like quiet for a little bit while he thinks on it. Just fingers are tapping on the notebooks. He also hasn't like ordered any food or anything yet. If other people have, he hasn't yet.
I'm going to say that Cito is paying attention to that and will order something for him if he doesn't do it himself, which seems to be the case.
Yeah. Yeah, like he's been very much lost in thought to the point where he just hasn't actively made a move to order anything. So
yeah, she'll take track of what he ordered last time and will just kind of wave over quietly without him knowing that, like, or wave one of the wait staff over and basically just say, like, get him what he had last time.
I mean, there's going to be, like, strategically lost sausages and scones and whatnot ending up on Cameron's plate.
But yeah, food is delivered, food is eaten. Is there anything else you guys want to do at the restaurant? I want to make sure I don't, because I do want to.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
That's fair.
Cito did say that she did want to perform.
Yeah, that happens.
Right. And bearing that in mind, looking over the clientele, seeing as how in this temporal junction, Cito is the most familiar with the faces that would be present here. If there's anyone that outside of Glix's particular contacts stand out to her.
Not really, no. It's sort of a fairly normal crowd.
Fairly
like, you
normal
recognize
crowd.
some of the faces, but none of them are, like, particularly notable people.
All right.
It's just one of those days.
It's all about the he said, she said what.
God damn it. All right.
Before we go,
Yes.
Kalia is going to, offer a bit of coin to the server.
Mm-hmm.
And she's going to say, bottle of brandy. And she's going to gesture over towards the Fey gentleman.
Nice.
The waitress who is the waitress in question is the Merilith from before. Sort of looks over at the Fae. You actually hear her chuckle a bit. Says, "All right." And eventually, she heads over to the table, places the brandy down. You see her lean over, whisper something to the Fae, and then sort of slither off. And he sort of looks down, looks over at Kalia.
She'll raise her mug,
and he nods and gives you a wry smile and opens the bottle.
And the bottle detonates. No, just kidding.
Snakes pop out of it.
The glitter bomb.
Shit.
He is covered in glitter now.
Oh, he's never getting all of that off then. Glitter's impossible to get off permanently. Anyways,
Glitter is Hobby's herpes.
anyways, yeah, all right. Yes, as I said, the Fae, he gives you a very wry smile. I was like, okay, well played.
Who's playing? I'm just being nice.
That might, even if that's the case, that is not what he thinks. We're talking about a Fae noble here.
Yeah, that's because they don't understand sincerity.
No,
they don't.
they basically don't. Yeah. At any rate, you all finish your meals and such, and you gather yourself together and head out. And then as you all walk out through the door, and you step out into a black void.
Oh dear.
And then you feel
Cameron,
this.
it's one of those impossible things again.
You all.
Someone seems to have turned out the moon.
Well, none of you hear anything of this. You all feel like you're actually kind of standing there on your own.
Oh dear.
Then you all feel a strange sort of the wind rushing up past your head sort of sensation, and a very slight sort of feeling of weightlessness in your stomach.
Oh, I know what this is.
Jerry's having.
Oh, I don't want to meet the ground.
Jerry's having an existential crisis as this is happening.
So, to clarify, are we able to see each other?
You see nothing.
Okay, so we're all just kind of.
You are in an inky black void on your own.
Even with the dark vision,
we're all on solo duties. Got it. Okay.
Yeah. No, and no, you can see nothing. Dark vision doesn't help. There is nothing. It's not that it's dark. It's that there is nothing. And you feel that sensation of falling for quite some time. And then all of you, well, okay, correction. All of you except Cameron, and I'll get to Cameron in a minute. All hear a loud the sound of your feet plunging into water 4 times.
Oh no.
Basically all of you hear like, sploosh, but you hear like 3 other splooshes at roughly the same time, that all fairly far away from each other. And you plunge underwater for a brief time. Those of you who are surface breathers might want to swim your way up to the surface.
Yes. Splashy splash.
You struggle your way back up to the surface and realize that you are in a large cavern which is very dimly lit now. You can't really see anybody else at the moment, but you can see what looks like, quote, land. Reasonably close by that you are within swimming distance of. Sito, you can come back to the surface whenever you like to. There's a deep pool in a cave that you're in currently.
Sito will conclude that if, the other splashes that she heard of were her companions, then they would want to go to land. So she will head towards there, but isn't going to necessarily
make it. By the way, you guys heard, I don't know if I said this correctly. You all heard 3 other splashes. I might have said 4. I meant 3.
Yes.
No, you said 3. You said 3.
Good. I did say it correctly.
Yeah.
Cameron, I will talk to you.
The water.
Yep. Cameron, sorry, 1 second. Cameron, I will talk to you later about what happens with you because we'll get to that in a second.
Sure. No, I'm fine. Yeah.
Yes, you all managed to get
heavy metal armor.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of cursing and goblin and frantic splashing that you're pretty sure translates roughly to a very poorly executed dog paddle.
Yeah.
Jir is gonna try to swim over there and help Glix.
Well, you can't see Glix at the moment.
You can't see, but can't he hear them?
You can hear the general direction, but it's hard to tell, and it doesn't sound close. This
sound
cavern
close.
is huge.
Okay, that's better.
It's like
bearing in mind that it's huge and not close, but Sito also is adept at this environment.
Oh no, you can
head
work
over there.
It is much easier for you, Sito.
Yes.
Since you can just travel underwater.
Let me know when I get within 30 feet of the shore, because I'm just going to teleport the last.
Oh yeah,
30 feet.
that actually doesn't take you very long at all. Actually,
Okay.
You're actually we're only say 60 feet away from shore. Honestly, you were actually pretty close.
I just like the idea of Sito coming to save Glix, and then poof, fucker.
Bam.
But yes, you all managed to make it back up on land, as it were, and you're in a large, dark, cold cave. Also, there is no sign anywhere of Cameron.
Cam, where are you?
I do not think he is with us.
Nah, he's got to be with us. That's
Are
how these stupid things work. We just had
Are
a
you
big long
only-
conversation about how the stupid door works, and it's supposed to work like this.
Are you incapable of counting anything that isn't a card?
Pretty sure you
Count
count
coins, thank you.
you say it at the exact same time.
Well, aside from yourself, 3 coins went into the fountain, not 4.
I was a little busy trying not to drown to count splashes.
I do not think Cameron is with us. The context thereof I cannot speak to, but I do not think we will find him if we were to search for him.
So that's stupid. No, he's here. Cameron.
Jay looks out into the water. It's like, well, if you want to go look for him, you can dive into the inky black darkness of the water and find him yourself. Because I'm pretty sure she does correct.
Yeah,
It's dumb. I got a better idea. I'm gonna cast Flock of Familiars.
Okay.
And I'm gonna send some really gross-looking anglerfish for familiars down into the inky darkness looking for them.
I love that. That's pretty great.
Nice. All right.
They've all got giant mouths.
Because not only will they find Cameron, they will also give Cameron a heart attack.
Yes.
All right. Well, the anglerfish go down into the water. You in the time you were able to keep that up and running, you are not able to find Cameron. What you do find is what looks like a cave at the bottom of the pool, leading off to one of the direction opposite of the parashore where you crawled up on, Glix. It looks like a tunnel at the bottom.
I went through the tunnel over on the other side.
One way I like to think of this, Peter, is this. Good news, you did not find Cameron's corpse. The bad
That is
news,
true.
you
You did not find
anything of
Cameron's
Cameron.
corpse. You were correct. That is good news. You also did not find Cameron, but hey, at least he's not obviously dead.
It would seem that there is a swim before all of you.
But by the way, it is pretty deep down in the pool, and you don't know how long the tunnel is from what your fish were able to find.
Right.
And you're able to keep that up for a fair while, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think it's an hour per level.
Yeah. Something like that.
Up to an hour.
It's an hour. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
within the hour, you're not able to
familiar
find. You're not able to find the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So that's a no.
At least at the moment, it's a no. That is where we're going to end the session because I have got things I need to plan out before we go forward.
Right.
But as you know, one thing, Cito, you notice this actually after a little while. It takes you a little while to notice this. Because the lighting in here is not the best, even for someone with dark vision.
Right.
But eventually you realize that there is pretty clearly, on one of the wall behind Glix, there is very clearly what looks like sort of a carved mural on the wall. And the text, which has text engraved in it. Which are very clearly very old. They're definitely look like they are prayer. They are sort of a liturgy for Oceanus in very old Sulteshi, like very old Sulteshi.
Tito is going to break out one of her candles and prestidigitation it on, and reveal this to the group.
Yep.
It would appear that we are near my home.
Oh, okay. So does that mean we're gonna have to eat a lot of fish now?
I mean, probably.
That sounds like a best case scenario to me.
Yeah. It is a mural of what look like merfolk and in some sort of doing some sort of religious ceremony. And as I said, there is definitely, and there is ancient Sulteshi liturgy to Oceanus. And that is where we're going to end the session.
Oh dear.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. As an aside, Skitch is not going to be available for March, basically, from what I understand.
Yep. 4 weeks at least. Yeah.
So this is how I'm writing Cameron out for a little while.
Yes.
I figured the Cameron disappears mysteriously is a fun way to do it. So.
I mean, I knew exactly where you were going once we got there, so that's why I wanted to like have the extra little bit of melodrama from him before. Oops, he disappeared.
Yep. But yes, that is it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching us on YouTube and you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, etc. You know the deal. And we'll see you guys next time when we resume this. Hopefully next week, but I'm not positive yet.
Right.
Basically, usual, very likely next week, but yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.